Audubon 2456.
Laskavo Prosimo, everybody! State of the Save, Ukraine's 176th most favorite video game podcast is back with part 1 of Bully. The amount of time it took us to try to butcher that statement is ungodly, and I apologize already to offending our entire Ukrainian listenership.
Just got an email. We are now the first video game podcast to be banned from the Ukraine App Store.
Hey, we're 176th in popularity in Ukraine, now the first one to get banned. Look at that. Fun fact, we typed in originally trying to figure out how to say welcome to State of the Save, and then after hearing that one time, we're like, oh no, welcome is the best thing we can try.
Even that took us a couple minutes to nail down.
It took us a lot more than a couple of minutes. And I've already forgotten how to say it. But welcome everybody back to State of the Save, part 1 of Bully. It's exciting to be back. Michael, I got a bone to pick with you.
Why is that?
Remember, we were talking about Persona. We're not going to be talking about Persona right now.
I was about to say, you want to talk Persona?
No. But remember, there was a statement you made that you didn't think that the last boss was, real yet, and there was going to be a real-life last boss fight, and a card was going to drift down from the air conditioning vents that was going to, signal the start of the boss fight. Well, thanks to that, now my air conditioning ain't working, Michael. It's hot as hell in here. What the hell? But right when my air conditioning broke, I knew we had a show to record today. I thought to myself, it's that damn guys in those air vents I was talking about last time.
Oh, right now we're on the mission start. They haven't gone and cleared the palace yet. They're waiting for, I guess, we gotta wait till we clear the end of the month before then. They're probably in there. They're probably level grinding right now, but don't worry, they're gonna come for me soon. This
is a dumb bit and a hell of a way to start a show. But it's good to be back, everybody. We're looking forward to this one. This is part 1 of 3 of our talk about Bully. If you're playing along, you should have played up through the end of chapter 2, where that'll kind of cover everything there. And obviously, we'll talk about some side stuff and all that. But really, the big thing is the last episode will be the big side stuff, conversation. But as always, before we get into our talk about the game at hand, Mike, what's some other video games you've been playing? Or have you been playing some other video games?
I have been playing some other video games. Mainly, we did a big episode on my thoughts on going back to Mass Effect after all this time. And now I am approaching the end of Mass Effect 2. So that's how that's going.
So in 1 week, you have somehow completed almost all Mass Effect 2.
About a week and a half at this point, but
okay.
Still making sure to do as much of the side content I can. Make sure to get all the squad loyalty missions done. It is my favorite game of all time. Said that multiple times on this show, and yeah, it still holds up. It's really good.
I really I enjoyed that. If you did not have a chance, listen to the File Corrupted episode from last week, which was a conversation about Mass Effect, particularly Mass Effect 1, and kind of, is it something worth revisiting here with this this Legendary Edition remaster? Because Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 3 hold up in my mind when I think back on those games. 1 was the one that was always the slog, so it's good to hear that it seems like Mass Effect 1 is at a point right now in that collection that it's worth going back to.
You spoiled our conversation.
Yeah, I spoiled it, but I'm also... There was other stuff we talked about. We didn't sit there... It didn't take us 50 minutes to say that.
Oh,
Jeez.
Yes, Mass Effect. Let's break down each of the gameplay elements ad nauseum and discuss if this is really worth seeing through to the end of the game.
Isn't that kind of what we did?
Oh, kind of, but
yeah,
in a less pretentious way.
Man, this is really... We're selling these shows. You think for a podcast that's been around for 1 year... See that segue? That takes a whole year to fine-tune your skills to get down to that kind of level of segue. But yes, State of the Save has been around for 1 whole year. As of this week. Actually, as of tomorrow when you're listening to this. So, very, very exciting. I was thinking maybe on the next File Corrupted I have maybe some anniversary fun that we can talk about.
Aw.
Yeah, it's a good idea. We got
Yeah.
fun stuff. Also, Michael's been doing some cool stuff on the Instagram and the Twitter. That if you don't follow us at State of the Save on those, where he's been kind of going back and promoting some of those old shows. And
We picked up some new listeners with season 2, so I thought we'd go back and like promote a lot of the games that we talked about before. If you haven't, like, gone back and listened to those episodes.
yeah, it's definitely worth listening. It's hard to remember to promote that stuff from our end because we're on to the next one, But all those shows, I mean, none of our content is super timely that you have to listen to it, today. You can go on back and there's still really good stuff there.
It's evergreen. My thoughts on Alan Wake are the same as they were a year ago at this point.
Yeah.
So
That Metal Gear Saga is still worth going back and listening. You too can go and listen to the 4-part Metal Gear Solid 3 saga.
Alliance has changed.
Friendships are tested. It's a hell of a show. But with that amazing segue, Michael, I had to interrupt you there.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything else you've been playing?
Yes, there was a game when I mentioned during Bastion, Scarlet Nexus, that I was really looking forward to. They have a demo out now for Xbox and PlayStation. I played that demo. I am really looking forward to that video game.
Tell me about Scarlet Nexus.
Scarlet Nexus plays like a mix of it's a Bandai Namco joint. And it plays like a Platinum game with a little bit of the telekinesis of control.
Okay. All these things are things I enjoy.
Yeah, so mid-combo you can use telekinesis on an object. Like while you're pressing the square button to do a sword combo into this guy, you can charge up a telekinesis move and then throw a piece of the environment at them.
Is it smooth like in Control? Well, it's not a task to have to get a hold of something. Like in Control, it's very easy to grab something and pull it to you.
It's a part of your meter bar, or your power meter. So you're using your attacks to charge up your power meter, and then when you hit enough, you can grab something and throw them at him mid-combo. Or you can start the combo with the throw. Or there's special objects in the environment that you can use with the... So you use the right trigger to grab something and throw it, but there's some objects in the environment that's special items, like using an electronic hacking ability to turn on a steamroller to go and ram into this enemy.
Okay.
So I can use that, and while I'm doing that, I can also charge up grabbing this air vent to throw at them.
So it's not like a quick time event. I'm looking for it's almost like a triggers. Like you can trigger certain events throughout the environment in the combat.
There is quick time events when you use the special one, because you get the first hit, but in order to do a secondary hit, you need to hit the quick time event, and it's all very fast paced.
It's kind of like an old school God of War thing where it's you would do a move that would launch you into a little quick time sequence. Is it kind of like that?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
But it all flows very naturally. Combat's very fast, and there's 2 characters. I don't know how the story is going to go, but there's 2 separate demos and a level with each of them, so I don't know if they're 2 separate stories happening simultaneously, because both of them have different party members.
Okay.
And the intro cutscene shows them fighting. So I don't know if it's they're training with each other because they're on the same side, or if there's a bit where the stories collide and they have to fight each other because they're on the same team, so I don't know how that's going to shake out. So, story-wise, I have no idea what's happening.
Well,
I am very confused, because it throws you in the middle of, a very... imagine starting 10 hours into a JRPG. And as, we're well past explaining stuff, and now we're, delving into some weird things. And that's how this seems to be going at this point.
But that's what you want to do in these kind of demos. I don't want to know... Don't show me a bunch of story stuff, because, if I care enough about the combat and I care enough about the gameplay itself, I'll experience that story as I go through. Just get me just enough of a teaser that I'm interested in, be like, give me the trailer sequence, right? For a movie.
Pretty much.
Well, show me cool stuff and let me be on board, and then I'll experience everything else. So, I don't want to have a breakdown of the story in every demo.
Gameplay's got me hooked, and some of the elements of the story that are there seem very weird in a way I can appreciate. they communicate via brainwaves, a la Metal Gear Solid 2.
Okay.
So, like, they're like, we're communicating via brainwaves, but it's not like telecommunication. I can't read your thoughts. It's only thoughts that you choose to broadcast to me. So it's like a secure channel where we can communicate using our brains.
Okay.
And you can get text into your brain.
It's an interesting looking game. I think I'll give it a shot when it comes out.
Once you beat the first demo, you get the intro sequence, and I'm like, this is kind of cool. And if you beat the second demo, you get, a la 2005, like a rock music video.
Which does not make me want to try it out.
That made me more interested going, okay, this game is certainly, the gameplay style is like modern day Platinum, but like the kind of story and like the dressing around it seems like a like mid-2000s PlayStation 2 game. Like a game that would come out on the PS2 after the PS3 had already shipped kind of PS2 game.
Yeah, like that whole, we were halfway through development on this thing and the PlayStation 3's out, so let's just keep on rolling.
Burned our money being way too over-ambitious kind of PS2 game, so...
Yeah, a lot of like JRPGs and stuff like that were like that, was like a year after the PlayStation 3 was out. It's like, hey, well, PS2 coming out, here we go. It's like, y'all were just past the point of no return, weren't y'all?
But yeah, I'm really excited to see how this game shakes out. I am very interested in the gameplay for it.
Yeah, you showed me a couple of trailers you had posted on Discord, and
the demo's out.
Yeah, I think I'll give it a shot just to see. It looks interesting. My biggest problem right now is other than Bully, I've just been acquiring games and I've not had time to play any. So
I understand that feeling.
Yeah, I'm at that point now where it's just like, you could stop putting stuff on your hard drive any day now, man. You're not getting to the stuff you got on there. So, RE8, and then Warhammer Hired Gun, which is coming out on June 1st, is going to be on that hard drive. So it's just, everything's just sitting there. And one of these, hopefully next week sometime, I'll be able to start cracking into some stuff.
So you did get RE8?
Yeah, it's on the hard drive. It just ain't been started yet. It'll be started eventually. Like I said, it was a hell of a week. Hell of a week, man. Other than that, man, I feel like let's just go ahead and jump into Bully.
Okay.
I have a lot of things I want to say up front about my experience with Bully. Now, this is you said the second or third time you've played Bully.
This is, story-wise, maybe second and a half. Like, I know I finished it once. I don't know if I finished this game a second time.
Okay. Now, I've never played Bully before, and one thing I talked about in the last show was I have a unique relationship with Rockstar. It's one of the few companies that's like the critically acclaimed kind of major video game publishers and developers that developer, not publisher, that just has never really registered with me. It's never connected. I've played like 4 or 5 of their games, but the only one that's like the Red Dead series has been something I've enjoyed, and the only Grand Theft Auto I've ever really enjoyed was San Andreas. And so I was really excited about, okay, here's a PlayStation 2 era Rockstar release. It's something very different from them. Had a lot of hype going into it. When I was telling people we were playing this for the show, a lot of people were very, very excited about it. And I can't quite shake that the general kind of tone and aesthetic of Rockstar games is, I think, just something that's just off-putting to me. And that's something I'm going to kind of talk about as we kind of go through the game, because those things I really, really like and things I really, really enjoy. And every time I start to fall into enjoying things, there's this kind of attitude and style to Rockstar writing that just
it puts you
snaps
off.
Me right back out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because those moments where I start to buy in. And I'm hoping, as we play through this game, we have like 3 more chapters of this. I'm hoping that I can start to buy back into it, because every time I come really, really close to buying in, it just snaps me right back out with Rockstar, being their aesthetic and how they kind of approach their writing and their game's design. And we're going to kind of break through that, and I want to kind of put that up front, because I want to kind of explain like those parts of this game where I really start to buy in, and then there's these hard stops where I'm just like, damn, guys, like this is the design. It's either design choices or writing choices that just keep kind of snapping me back out. This is the
I understand that viewpoint completely. For me, it's have you ever heard the theory that South Park and Saturday Night Live, the peak of those were when you were in high school?
Yes.
No matter what it is, no matter how good the quality is, when you're in, you have a connection to it when you're in high school because that's your humor. That's you're in the target. You're in the exact point in your life you need to be to like appreciate some of the cynicism and the like crude humor in a lot of these games. That's why when I was in high school, the dominant games were like people liked GTA, people liked Bully, people liked games like this when we were like in middle school and high school because it was feeding to our personal tastes at the time. And because of that, I can look back and go, I can see why I found this funny when I was 13. I'm not 13 anymore. There's some stuff in this game that's still hilarious to this day. And then some points looking at it from 15 years later that I'm like,
Yeah, and we'll talk about some of that because some of this stuff has not aged well. But like,
of course, it's not going to. It's a humor-based game from 15 years ago. Not all of it is going to land today.
Yeah,
and that's not the fault of the game itself. We grow. Society changes a lot in 15 years. Things that are acceptable 15 years ago are not necessarily that. It's good to look at things with a critical eye, but at the same time, it's not good to be like, they should have known better.
Because, yeah. I mean, you can't go back and, claim you have a time machine and hold things to a standard that wasn't really the standard at the time. We talked a lot about that with Grim Fandango from a gameplay point of view. How we were saying, like, this is the way adventure games were done at the time. Like, it's hard to say, well, this puzzle was so obtuse. That's a bad design. No, that was the way adventure games were at the time. And it was something where we were like, hey, well, you can't hold it to the same, like, adventure game level of standard that you have today if it was released today. And that's a big thing we always have to remember about doing any of these games that we talk about, because we do retro games a lot, that you have to kind of put your mind back in the state of the time.
And this is the opposite of something like a Grim Fandango, where a lot of the story stuff in Grim Fandango was still resonated 20 plus years later. But the gameplay was where I think it led to itself to more scrutiny, looking at it from a critical eye from today's perspective. Whereas this, for the most part, still plays pretty well today.
That's something I think we're going to have to kind of agree to disagree on.
Okay.
Because some of the gameplay stuff is what I'm talking about when it brings me out. It's easy to say, like, hey, you meet a character that's just like a walking parody and not even a good one. That brought you out of the game. That's one thing. But I'm talking a lot of times I'll hit gameplay parts or gameplay sections where it's just unnecessarily... Like, I just kept questioning, like, what is the purpose of this? Like, you're in my way of having fun. Mm-hmm.
Which at the same time, there is some gameplay ideas here that seem like a basis for even... There's a bit of... When you look at like Red Dead Redemption 2, there's a little bit of Bully's DNA in that game.
I can see some of that. You're on something there.
There is... This feels like a foundation for gameplay-wise for Rockstar games to come. And it's interesting that it happened in a setting that's completely different from Rockstar games in the future.
In a setting they've never went back and revisited. I would be fascinated to see what a modern-day Bully looks like a Bully 2. Because a lot of the content and the way characters are portrayed here is not stuff I feel like would go well with the general public today, and I can't tell if that's... I don't know. I thought a lot about, like, what does a school environment in 2021 look like compared to, what was the year this was released?
2006.
2006. Okay, so 15 years ago, right? 2006 is a completely different time In 2021.
Late 2006. So this was right around the time of the PlayStation 3. This was like tail end of PS2.
Yes. And I think you were 100% right about, the South Park Saturday Night Live thing. Well, usually when you're in that early teens to late teens, that's like your era, right? And to kind of support that, I talked about San Andreas being one of the few Rockstar games that's ever, I enjoyed. I was 14.
Yeah.
When San Andreas was out. So, it was in that wheelhouse for me that it was in the humor and stuff was, it's close to what my humor at the time was.
And because I'm a little bit younger than you, this was my introduction into Rockstar games. My parents were pretty good about being like, you can't really. Grand Theft Auto, not really. Not from we buy into the controversy stuff. They were the type to look at the back of the box and go, no.
They made educated guesses.
Yeah, they made Grand Theft Auto, look at the back. Let's see. Sexual content, nudity, blood and gore, violence. Probably not for you, 12-year-old Michael. Then you look at Bully and see a teen rating and go, okay, yeah, you can play this. So Bully was my introduction into the Rockstar world when I was younger. And because of that, I have a lot of fondness for this game. I look back on going there is a little bit of I'm going to say up front, there is a little bit of the rose-tinted goggles here. Because I'm looking back at a fond time of playing video games that that age and everything. So it takes me back to a time and place. That being said, I'm still going to be critical of some of the choices they made here.
Yeah.
However, I can't help but feel a warm feeling when playing Bully at some points. It takes me out of it in some points, but other than that, I'm
you don't have to,
I'm into this.
You don't have to justify your enjoyment of something.
Yeah.
And the reason why I wanted to kind of talk about this up front is because, in this show, we try to be pretty positive. We like video games. We're here to talk about some video games and talk about video games and things that we like. But I wanted to kind of explain as we go through this game why some of the things were resonating with me and not resonating with me. And kind of, give some context for it,
Yeah. So let's dive in.
Yeah, let's dive in. Right off the get-go, for a late PlayStation 2 game, looks pretty good.
Well, they did have a lot of touch-up. We're playing the 360 version.
Yeah, but I'm talking. I've actually I went back and watched some gameplay footage of the PlayStation 2 version also, just to kind of to help my opinion on this. It looks pretty good.
Rockstar, even back then, proving that they could make the prettiest looking game on the system.
Oh,
even Red Dead 2 looks better than some of the stuff coming out on new hardware.
Oh yeah, Red Dead 2 looks gorgeous, and this game for a PlayStation 2 game
looks great.
Looks great, and one thing Rockstar I will never criticize about Rockstar is they do a wonderful job of creating environments and places that are easy to navigate by memory.
Yes.
And that's something I love about their worlds. Even in games I don't enjoy, the worlds are designed in a way that is easy to navigate. I never look at my map in Bully. I look at where the objective is, and I can generally remember how to get there by just remembering, okay, I go down this street to get to the carnival, I need to go through the tunnel. It's easy to remember.
You know how they do it? It's the use of landmarks. Right in the center of the map, they have the school building. And there's a mission early on with Gary where he takes you around to the places of all the different cliques. He walks you to the library, he walks you to the gym, he walks you to where the prep house and everything. He gives you, and because of that, it's all in your mind. And the way it connects all makes sense. And in true Rockstar fashion, they don't give you the open world right out of the gate. They feed it to you. First you get that, then you get a section of the town. And in Chapter 3, you get another section of the town. And then Chapters 4 and 5, you unlock the rest of the town.
Yeah, it's a very slow roll-up. But by the point that you have the entire world at your fingertips,
you know how to navigate.
You can navigate everywhere because you know how it connects. And that's something that at the time, I still think was impressive. Thinking back on open world games or games with large open spaces in the PlayStation 2 era, generally it wasn't that easy to navigate. They were already ahead of the curve in that aspect, and they're very good at it.
There's a reason when you think open world games, one of the first developers that comes to your mind is Rockstar, because they were the first to perfect it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I would not take anything away from that here. It's just a master class at directing you around the environment to know, instantly I know, okay, like if I'm on the school grounds, I know where my dorm is in relationship to the school itself.
Just give me a direction of where the mission is, and I will be able to find it.
Yeah, or you can even have characters be like, I'll meet you at, the dorm or whatever, and you can get there by just knowing, okay, I know where that is. And in a big open world game, that's really impressive. The game starts off, we are introduced to our hero, Jimmy.
Hero is a word. He's probably the most reasonable character in this game.
Which is a Rockstar thing.
Yeah.
You usually are playing as the guy who is the straight man or with the insane... Like, CJ...
He's a chaotic neutral.
Yes. Yeah, he's chaotic neutral.
He has no sides, but he's willing to, like, he says at the beginning, like, I don't give anything to people that they don't already have coming to them.
Which I think is a very important factor in enjoying this game. That Jimmy does not... Jimmy is not an asshole to anybody because everyone's an asshole. If everyone's an asshole...
The first bit of the game where you get out of the car and you're walking to the office, the bullies will immediately come up to you and start picking fights and shoving you.
They're picking on the other kids.
Right away, we should probably talk about the open world and how the characters... There's kind of a light faction system to this game.
Light faction.
Different cliques have different, rivalries with people, so the bullies will pick on the nerds, the preps, and the greasers.
Yeah.
What
year is this game supposed to be set in?
I don't know, but...
no, that was not sarcasm.
Yeah.
It's not set in 2006. Yeah,
What's late 90s, I would say,
Late 90s is a stretch for me. I was thinking
Do anybody have cell phones? I haven't seen a cell phone.
There was no cell phone or nothing. Just some of the clothing choices in town. I was thinking late 80s maybe. But and I was looking at the cars. Some of the cars were making me think late 80s. But which is a Rockstar thing. They set things at a time and they're not they're not held to a super strict this is 1989 and we're only going to talk about things that existed in 1989. They just kind of set it around a tone.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it does seem, because the tone of this game is very much 1980s comedies, high school, college comedies, Revenge of the Nerds, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, stuff like that. It seems to be the tone of this game, with a lot of the Rockstar cynicism thrown in.
Oh, so much cynicism.
So much Rockstar
so much cynicism, man.
Oh,
Jesus.
man, well, Chapter 2 has a lot of that.
Oh, yeah! We'll get there.
Anyway.
But I do like the faction system. It's very straightforward. It's nothing fancy.
It's not New Vegas. It's not like New Vegas because you can't you can't influence the faction system outside the missions.
Yeah, you only... And so by definition, your faction system is being influenced by the missions that you are doing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really something that you're I'm going to be a greaser and hang out with them. It's not that in depth. But you are instantly kind of dropped off at the school. I love games that take place in single locations and progress throughout a time period. So that's one thing I do really enjoy. You're dropped off in autumn. So it's that's kind of the initial time period this is going to be I'm assuming it's September, maybe late September is when you dropped off, early October.
Yeah, because school has already been in session for at least a little bit.
Yeah,
because everybody's already been acquainted with their classes and everything, and you're being dropped in, basically.
Yeah, which is a classic high school movie thing,
And right away, the adults in this game just prove themselves to be the absolute worst.
I put down here, Jimmy's
lady.
family is just the family from that movie. Was it Madeline? What was it? Matilda.
Yeah.
His family is just the family from Matilda. That was the dad was Danny DeVito. It's I was it's just the family from Matilda. I was that's who it is. And it even ends in a similar way where they're we got to get out of here because he was caught doing fraud or something. But yeah, I just thought that was funny. That's going to be a running theme throughout this whole game. Anybody over the age of 14 is an asshole. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. That cynicism and stuff is not something that bothers me. I expect that in this game. But yeah, he's dropped off. He's new guy in town. He's got no friends. He's got no connections. The first lady you meet is a very, very fucking horny. she is like, she wants the headmaster so damn bad, man. Like, and to the point that this is something that I enjoy parody, I enjoy satire, but boy, like, there was no subtlety in any of this game. And I was just sitting
You
there.
thought Metal Gear was on the nose. Boy, let me tell you about Bully.
Kojima writes subtlety with like a sledgehammer. Like, he wants you to know, but he's gonna hit you once. Pour a beat. Rockstar writes subtlety with a jackhammer, where it's just, you get it, you get it, you get it, you get it, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it's just like, okay, cool, man. And it entirely depends on how many beats they're trying to do. Like, if the character's entire thing is that she's just real horny for the headmaster, then it's like, okay, I get it. It gets tiresome. But every once in a while, a character's got enough things going on that the bam is tolerable. But, like, yeah, that's her entire existence is just to be horny for the headmaster. And you get the whole, like, you know, you've been kicked out of every school, and, you know, we're watching you real close. And then
the headmaster's like, this is a top-ranked school, but then you walk out of there and people just try to fight you immediately. To which I love that they don't shy away from that. Like, Jimmy says to him in a cutscene, this place is like, what do you mean this is a preteen school? This place is full of bullies and maniacs.
Well, it's also, and he defends it in that classic asshole way of like, that's just school pride and kids being kids. And like, you know that guy.
Because it's like hypocritical being like, I'm just trying to like get by. And
yeah. Jimmy's like, I'm just like, this is just a glorified prison yard out here, and I'm just trying to make it through the day.
Solidified the fact that the boys' dorm is a lawless hellhole. You walk in there and there's fights breaking out every single time. People are pulling fire alarms like every time you walk in there.
Like
that's where the faction system really shines, because literally it's just all the cliques together in one space. So fights are breaking out constantly. People are like pulling fire extinguishers off of walls. People are spray painting graffiti. There's like the headmaster's head on a dartboard.
There's just
wonderful.
Like every photo is just marked out with like red mark or like be like asshole or loser. And
it's a
like,
great environment.
Yeah, it's a prison yard. The school is a prison yard. And that I do enjoy.
I bet had a thought of this game going, if this was made in 2021, what I would like to see here. I would like to see the Nemesis system.
Oh yeah,
because I kind
of
got that, because in chapter 1, one of the bullies, I don't know the names of the side characters yet. You get a yearbook later on where you can take pictures and learn the characters' names, because you'll have like a yearbook of all the characters' names. So they all have like individual names, like even like the kid characters. But just that blonde bully, just that blonde comb over guy, he attacked me like as I was walking to the first mission. So every time I saw that kid, we just got into it every single time.
That's one thing I do enjoy, is they do a pretty good job of almost all the kids on the schoolyard are characters, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's not like there's a bunch of NPCs with like 7 people.
That was one thing they had to modify with I was reading about the game's development and everything, and that's one thing they had to account for with the engine of making sure everybody's AI was kind of individualized. Which is really hard to do, because if you have a whole bunch of AI scripts, complicated AI scripts running at the same time, you're going to drag the game down with performance. So they had to kind of beef up the engine in a way that they could account for all those AIs.
There's some occasional like weird breaks.
There is.
Like you'll be in like, this is an open world game from the PlayStation 2 era. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But like there's some weird breaks where you'll occasionally see like a character like warp across the ground real quick, or characters will interact in the middle of cutscenes and stuff. You see some stuff, but all in all,
like a prefect tackling a kid in the background while you're having a conversation with somebody.
Exactly. Which some of that is kind of fun.
Yeah, that is fun. That's
because it's adding on to the world. Like, just because we're standing here having a conversation doesn't mean that things aren't happening.
Yeah, exactly.
But sometimes they'll like be in front of the camera, so like you have like a 2 characters like shoving each other or whatever in front of the camera, so you can't see what Jimmy's doing. I had that happen a couple of times. But this whole first chapter is really based around getting you accustomed to the faction system, showing you the 4 school grounds, giving you all the different kinds of like side collectible missions and side content missions you're going to have on the school grounds.
Getting your gear,
getting your slingshot, getting your skateboard, which is going to be my go-to for this entire game because it's just convenient to have it. Mm-hmm. Getting you accustomed to the time mechanic in this game, which is something I do really enjoy.
Classes at 11 and 3.
I like that. Like, I particularly like it in middle of like. I had a mission in which I was doing one of the side missions where you have to escort one of the guards to her dorm, and you just like hold her hand and walk with her. And the mission triggered with about 15 minutes before curfew, and so we were only about like 2/3 of the way there when the curfew kicked in. So then I had to spend the rest of the little mission like pausing, letting perfects walk by, and then sneak. But it feels like it adds to
the world itself.
It didn't make me mad that I was like, well, crap, now I got to deal with
all
this.
of a sudden it's an escort mission.
No, it was like, well, okay, it's after dark now. It's 11 o'clock. I shouldn't be out here. They're going to catch me. And I like the none of the perfects are fast enough that if you really don't want to interact with them, you can just outrun them.
I don't in some instances because like there's no fast travel in this game, but if you want to get to a class and instead of like having to run all the way back there, I just punch one of the prefects and it takes you right to the class.
Or you can now there is a little bit of fast travel with the bus.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. That is the fastest way to get to class when you're like, in the town or whatever. Not the town, but
it kind of plays to the world too. It was like, I don't have to walk to class. Yeah. This slingshot, dude.
I particularly enjoy. So we meet kind of what is going to be our cast, or the beginnings of our cast. Mm-hmm. You meet Gary.
Gary
is a fucking psychopath.
He's a great villain.
He's a great villain. He
gets under your skin in a way because he is just the most edgy teenager, thinks he owns the place kid.
There was a moment.
He's great.
I sent you a Discord message, I think. And in my notes here, we're going to jump ahead a little bit here, and we'll come back. But Gary, and there's the kind of this, each one of these chapters seems to have like a set piece, like mission at the end to be your kind of big, hurrah before you end the chapter. Mm-hmm. For this is Halloween is the set piece, and I really liked Halloween, but Gary dresses as a motherfucking Nazi. And at first I went, woo, that's a choice. Like, this kid's a fucking Nazi. And then I was like, of course he fucking is. Because he's the kind of asshole who would show up being like, who's so fucking edgy. And I was sitting there and I was like, yeah, of course Gary's a fucking Nazi.
It's just satire, bro.
Yeah, he's that guy who tries to hide behind that shit. And it's like, no, you're just an asshole. But yeah, it was one of the things that at first I went like, ouch, that's a damn choice to make, Rockstar. And then I was like, yeah, but he's also the kind of asshole who would be like, oh, I'm just trying to start a conversation.
He does it. Every conversation he has with Pete is just the most antagonistic, like, toxic friendship thing you would ever see.
I have mixed feelings on Pete as a character. That's actually a good. Yeah, man, what the fuck?
I stole your segue. What
the hell, man? Listen, pull the listeners to just ignore. Don't let him do this.
You're ruining it now because we don't have that bridge anymore. Yeah. Because you're I built the bridge and you're like, this is a nice bridge. I'm gonna set some dynamite on it.
You built the bridge and I went over there and I kicked the bridge over and we're like, fuck your bridge. I'm gonna proceed to swim across instead. Michael, if you haven't realized that my favorite thing to do with segues is call out the segue, then I don't know what you've been doing for the past year.
That's just good podcasting.
That's high quality podcasting.
Everybody loves when you point out the stuff that makes a podcast flow.
Yeah, it's
naturally.
Great. But Pete is a character that in some ways I think he walks because I spent a lot of time when I was a young man at like a camp thing. I was a part of like this Boy Scout thing. And spent a lot of time. Like that's why the dorm stuff was interesting to me because I remembered spending time in these like cabin things, and it was like this reckless. It was like a lawless little section because none of the freaking like adults will ever like care enough to come check on us. Like I was at one particular thing, and like I said, this thing was like a Boy Scout thing, and we had a leader that we had to elect for each like cabin. And
so these weren't chosen by like the scoutmasters or anything. This was chosen by these
clarify,
were appointed by the.
They were, and we, being the one cabin that was having issues, we hated our fucking guy. Hated this fucking guy. And so like day 2 of the camp, we're in the little cabin, and like a meeting is happening while he's in the showers, and we're like, fuck this guy. His job was patrol guide.
Please tell me you staged a coup.
Yes. So he had little bars that he had to wear in his we had uniforms. Very militaristic if I look back on it. Like we were but he had bars that labeled him as patrol guide. And we straight up while he was in the shower removed the bars from his uniform, put it on a new kid, and he comes out, he's like, "Hey, where's my patrol guide bars?" And we're like, "Fuck you. Brandon's the patrol guide now." And like it broke this kid's heart. He was the guy, and so we had to go do the formation thing, and we're walking outside. He's no longer at the front of the line.
He just goes along with this.
He didn't have a choice. There was 7 of us and 1 of him.
Oh my gosh!
And we get to the formation. I forget how militaristic this thing was, looking back on it, but. And he's like no longer standing at the front, and like the adults are like, why are you not here? And we're like, we ousted him, we removed him, and like it was this whole thing where they're like, you can't just kick him out. Wow, none of us like him. Why should we follow this guy? But like, so this whole game brings back a lot of memories for me. And Gary, in this kind of atmosphere that he operates in, I have met these assholes before as a child. So like. And Pete, in particular, is that kid that we kicked out as patrol guide. So I feel bad. But in some ways, also, one thing that hasn't aged very well is some of the terminology and the words they call Pete. Where it's like, this is some...
He calls him we introduce him by calling him femboy.
Yeah, I wrote that one down. They call him femboy.
Which makes sense for Gary to call him that, too.
Yeah, but it's not done in a way where, like, no one calls him out on it, which I think is why it's a little bit.
I want to see there's a bit where Jimmy like just says like that's enough at one point, because he does at the very end of the chapter whenever you take over the bullies. He says you're gonna leave me and Pete alone. Like he includes Pete in that.
Yeah, and Jimmy doesn't because Pete's not a bad person. Like that goes back to Jimmy doesn't really he doesn't mess with anybody who's not an asshole.
Yeah, he's a bully to bullies.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just some of that stuff was a little bit like in 2021. If I was writing this game, I probably wouldn't put those lines in there, or I would have characters react differently. Pete, Gary, Jimmy, that's your main kind of characters in this whole thing. Everyone else is secondary. One thing that
they become primary characters in like the chapter they're in, but after that they become like not necessarily part of your crew, but they don't mess with you anymore.
Yeah, because this game seems to be, from what we've seen so far, is about conquering the different cliques.
Like, I did not play any story missions in Chapter 3, but I walked around a bit, and the preps, after conquering them in Chapter 2, we go, "Hey, Jimmy, how's it going? You doing all right?"
I did something in Chapter 3, and we'll talk about that when we get to Chapter 3.
Okay.
Yeah, so this chapter is about conquering the bullies.
And introducing you to...
all the cliques.
All the cliques, and setting up Gary as the main antagonist.
Also, getting you used to going to the classes. I enjoy the class system.
The classes are fun. They give you the upgrades are worth getting.
Yeah. And also,
there's some bonus classes where it's just like, you did biology. Here's a hat.
Okay. The only class I didn't like was the biology, because it was just kind of like
that time limit is so tight. You gotta do everything I did everything exactly right on the second one, and I only had 10 seconds to spare.
Yeah, it's very tight.
I'm worried how when I get to 5, how how quick that's going to end up being.
English
English is the hardest one for me. For some reason, I panic when I see jumbled up words like that.
Yeah, that
And
one
I'm just
messed
like,
with me.
but
It was also my worst subject in school, so I was having a little bit of surprise, surprise, listeners. Eric's worst subject was English.
but you can hit the Xbox button on the Xbox One to cheat a little bit when they made the game, they were counting for the 360, not the Xbox One. So you can hit that button, and the time limit just pauses, so you can think for a bit. That being said, I still failed English 3.
I really enjoyed the math because I like math, and so it was fun to do quick, rapid succession math problems. That was fun. I am fucking great at geography. I can kill geography. I was knocking that shit out left and right. I was like,
Geography was fun because they added a lot of the classes: biology, geography, math, and music are all new to the scholarship edition. They weren't in the base game.
Math and geography, are my favorites. So good ads by Rockstar. I really enjoyed those.
The music one, because I think that unlocks with, I don't remember if that unlocks with chapter 2 or 3, because I just did some open world stuff in 3, not any of the story stuff to reiterate. But the music class one is fun, just because I did band. And that takes me back to a time where Jimmy's playing in time and everything, and the band just sounds horrible. They're all out of key because it's middle school band. This is I gotta take an elective. I'm not serious about band, but I guess I can play a trumpet.
I played in high school punk bands, so that's just every band practice was us slightly off. So you've never had to listen to 45 minutes of someone trying to nail how to play I don't know, freaking Die, 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 My Darling by the Misfits, but being a beat off all the way. So it's dun, 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 no, dun, 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 because everything's slightly off. Everybody's in slightly different time.
Only conformists would play the song in time. Real punks play it out of
co-host of the show, Nick, was my ride or die partner in all those bands. And Nick was a lot better than I was, so he was in time. And then I was always a beat behind him, so I apologize to Nick if he listens to this show. You were in time, brother. Me, I was half a beat behind. One thing that kind of is interesting about chapter 1, to me, there's not a ton to talk about in chapter 1, and we'll do a final run through before we jump on to chapter 2.
There is a couple things I want to mention in chapter 1 that I found amusing. One of the kids, whenever the nerds fighting one of the bullies, and one of the nerds just runs up and yells, "Avengers Assemble," which is great. That got a good chuckle out of me.
The nerd stuff.
The nerds are my favorite.
The nerds are the funniest.
Anything involving the nerds, I'm very much into. My favorite line in this game was when Melvin is doing with his character sheet. There's a good bit about I'll let you share the winches.
Yeah, he's share the winches.
Really,
I was yeah, no winches.
I'm this is my favorite guy right here.
I was sitting there, I was there ain't no winches, bro.
But he also says role playing is the height of human achievement. Then it cuts to Jimmy making a blank face.
Yeah,
that's beautiful. That's got a good.
That's a solid line. I give whoever wrote that one needs a cookie, because that was a pretty fun line.
Melvin, my man. Well, let's get it together. We'll change character sheets and do a D&D campaign. How's that sound?
We're not doing a State of Save
Melvin's
D&D
cool.
campaign. We're not doing a State of Save D&D campaign, because I have met the people who want to play D&D as if they are on that Critical Role show, and that is not a fun experience to be on. But a couple other things I do want to bring up here in chapter 1 that I enjoyed. Halloween is kind of the pinnacle of the chapter for a good reason, because one, not only do you get to see the whole all the school, everybody's in costumes and stuff, but it does a great job of getting that sense of mischief across, because there was none. I don't think there's any perfects out on Halloween. If there are, there didn't seem to be as many, and so you just feel you have a lot more free roam. It feels like being a kid without your parents watching, and I was a little bummed out because the loading screens keep talking about the big prank, and how if you go to sleep you miss out on getting to do the big prank. And I was really excited about the big prank, and then it turns
Like,
out,
we're gonna take a wrecking ball to the school or something.
I thought
that.
it was gonna be something huge, and then it was just the whole like put the flaming dog turd on the thing.
But at the same time, these guys being in high school, it makes sense. Like, we're gonna do something bold. Well, Gary's probably done this a million times before too. But also, because I like the kind of the small scale of this game. Like my favorite bit is where one of my favorite bits of this chapter is where Algernon's like, "Hey, I need an escort," and Jimmy highballs him to $5. $5 is the highball in this game. Whereas like in GTA, you'll be doing stuff for hundreds, thousands of dollars, and Jimmy's like, "Hey, you got a $5?"
Yeah, he's like because he offers like what 2, and Jimmy's like 5. And he's like, I don't got $5. He's like 5, or you get nothing. Yeah, I do enjoy that. The kid's scale on things is fun, where it's like trying to get like the $5 is like a big deal. Like you got $5 freaking dollars, man. Like that's half the money your parents sent with you this
escort
month.
Missions are not like they're gonna kill me. We need to take a ride in your car. It's like, can you walk me to the library or I'm gonna get a wedgie again.
Yeah,
it's just the scale of it, the scaled down version of like a GTA. I find very fascinating.
One thing we talked about was controversy before this game came out. There was no content in this game that like justifies the insanity.
They gave it to a judge. Presumably the judge took it home to his PS2 or whatever, played it, and was like, "This is it? This is an 80s movie. What are we doing?"
Yeah, like like the projectiles are eggs or freaking marbles and shit. It just blew my mind that like people thought
you can cause real trouble with that stink bomb.
There is one thing I don't like. The making out is uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's
like that one. Like that one it's just slightly too long to be a grown man. I'm late 20s man sitting there as like these two 15-year-olds have been going.
Did you have to
explain a minute
that?
And a half.
Did you have to explain that bit to your wife and go, "Let me explain"?
No, but I also play with a big set of headphones on.
Gotcha.
So the sound effect would mean because the sound effect is very much
headphones. Oh no, that's
yeah. Oh yeah, that sound effect very much applies a lot more than just making out. Like we're at least second to third base. We're like halfway between third base and that sound effect, but it's just slightly too long.
I mean, that's how you get a health boost. That's how you get above 100% health.
That's somewhere at Rockstar they were like, hey man, like in GTA you gotta bang a hooker to get a health boost. So how do we do that in Bully? And like we'll just make them make out for like 5 minutes. It really is.
That does play down to like the small scale. Like we're gonna take everything absurd about GTA and then make it fit in this high school setting.
Also, it plays down into we don't need to have high school banging.
True.
Right?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Of course not. No.
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 Yeah, I'm just saying, like, that's also, like, even Rockstar was like, we're not crossing that line. Thank you, Rockstar, for that.
This is a T-rated game.
And it needs to be. One other mission I want to talk about before we get out of this chapter is the Defense of the Candidate mission, in which you are hanging out up in a balcony, sniping bullies so this kid can make his speech. And I really, really enjoy that because, like, you're up there, like, defending him like he's the president of the United States with a paintball gun. And it's a little bit too long, but it's a fun sequence. And my favorite thing is, even though you can defend him perfectly, the crowd only goes semi-wild. Like, most of the kids in the crowd are still like, screw this guy. Like, it's like the only people who are excited are the people who would have been excited anyway. Because it's all the other nerds. But, like, I love the fact that when it cuts to the crowd after the successful mission, it's only, like, the nerds are celebrating. And then everyone else looks bored or, like, don't give a damn. So it's like, even though you did this whole defense of this kid so he can make his speech, most people didn't give a damn anyway. And I don't think he even won, did he?
Was there a resolution to that?
I hope there was a resolution because I don't think he even won.
I don't remember. I do remember his logo vividly because it's like a black E on a hard white background.
Yeah.
And you're like, you could have looked at the earnest man. You could have looked at this one more time and been like, I know that's what the writers were going for.
Yeah,
with that.
it's just a really shitty.
Because like.
But it's the kind of logo.
That'd be a funny thing if he mentioned, oh yeah, Gary offered to do my logo for me or something.
Yeah.
That'd been like, oh, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah,
I kind of wish they kind of do a line
like
up
Gary,
there.
because Gary would do that kind of shit.
Like, sure, I'll do it for free.
Yeah, it's like, you fucking psychopath. The only real psychopath at this school is Gary. Like, Gary is the scary psychopath.
Everyone else sucks, but you're like, this is the guy you'll see on your local news in the future.
You could see everyone else growing out of this. Gary's like this forever. Like, you can just tell. Like, I've met some kids, I can think back about some kids that you're just like, you're going to be like a scumbag forever. Like, I can see it at 12.
I mean, at the end of chapter 2, he does reference that the head of the preps becomes a congressman.
Which seems about right. Chapter 1 ends in Gary betraying you and putting you in a straight up Fight Club situation against Rufus? I think it's Rufus.
Russell,
who is the Incredible Hulk of the bullies.
He doesn't have complete sentences. It's like, me, Russell, you die, or something.
Did you fight Russell in the boys' dorm during Halloween?
No.
He kept like screwing with me as we were trying to leave at the beginning of Halloween and punching me.
I like how the boss characters are like prominent in the world too. Like you could fight them.
Well, and that Russell shows back up in chapter 2 now on your side, and you and Russell team up, and they don't nerf him. All right, like there's this thing in like in video games and comics and stuff where like the big bad guy is all bad until they're beaten, and then the next time you see him, they're just like half the power they used to be.
Sweet, I can play as M. Bison. Oh no.
Yeah,
I don't want to play as M. Bison.
Sucks. But like here, when you deal with Russell again, he's beating the shit out of everybody. It's like, yeah, I got Russell. I got a tank with me today. But Gary's like, I figured you out, man. You're trying to take over the school instead of me. And you're like, dude, I don't care about taking over the school. And he's just like,
because I'm just trying to get by. What are you doing?
But Gary's a psychopath, so he assumes everyone else is a psychopath. And he's like, no, you're trying to take the school from me, so I'm naturally going to have to beat you up in public. But I can't do that, so I'm going to get Russell to do it for me.
I think he only shows up once in chapter 2.
Yes, they do a great job of not putting him in too much stuff. Because when he does show up, I think I have a note here for when he shows up that just says, that bitch!
He's like pulling the strings the whole time. Like he's manipulating everybody about he's a great villain because he doesn't need to be on screen to have a presence. Gary's fingers are in everything.
Also, he's a great villain because he's smarter than everyone. So literally, everyone hates you because Gary's telling them things about you.
Always about barnyard animals. It's always barnyard animals.
Gary's got some...
It was like, really, the first bit? But the more... It's one thing that the more it shows up, the funnier it gets. Just because it's like, that's his go-to for everybody. It's effective, I guess.
I guess. It works. People get real mad. But I love that that's the thing. Gary's superpower is just lying. Like, he's just really good at lying. And Jimmy's just getting the brunt of all of his lies. I like that this chapter ends with you beating Russell. You're now king of the bullies. And then we progress in time.
So you can, like, call them... It's cool because you can, like, call them off of people. Just be like, hey, don't do that. And you don't have to, like, punch them or anything. They'll be like, all right, it's cool, man. It's cool.
Yeah, you're now king of the bullies. And now we progress into what I guess is probably in, like, November. Because it starts to snow a little bit.
Oh, one cool bit. Going back to chapter 1 real quick. Because this being an open world game, there's some collectibles. But just because you leave Halloween doesn't mean you're locked out. You can find the Halloween collectibles in the basement of the school, naturally where they would be. That's just a cool detail.
It's a well-designed game, man. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 2 is the prep chapter. And I like that the Jimmy, before the chapter starts, it opens up the ward, and he's like, he gives you a little bit of, like, some breakdown of the preps. And, like, these are some assholes. I'm going to have to deal with them, I think. Mm-hmm. Like, his narration is very tired, and I just want to get through this shit.
Well, you start out, before Gary has his hand in the picture, you start out kind of on their side. Like, you buy a sweater to, like, get in with them into their gang. You beat them at boxing to kind of show them, oh, he's dealt with the art of boxing. He's earned our respect. It's
Well,
not until Gary has his hands in it is when things go wrong and you have to take them all down.
Because they kind of invite you to come hang out because
They're like,
they
"Hey."
saw you beat up Russell, and they're like, we fight, we box. You should come box with us. So it's like, it's not natural for everybody to hate Jimmy, and people would probably Jimmy would probably make his own little friends and stuff if it wasn't for this asshole Gary walking around fucking with him. And I like that concept that like Jimmy wouldn't be in this shit if it wasn't for the fact that there's this asshole who's just constantly following him, making people hate him. Fun thing I really, really enjoyed about this chapter. One, going to the town is fun because there's enough of those landmarks that you want to see. So I went to the carnival way before I had to because I was like, oh, there's a carnival there. Let me ride my little bicycle over to the carnival. Thing I don't like. I don't like having to tap buttons.
Yeah, that's...
My A button is going to be freaking broke when I'm done with this game.
That is still ingrained in the Rockstar games.
Yes,
GTA
it is.
5 has that. That's in Red Dead 2 as well.
It's in Red Dead 2. They do a lot of... They love fucking tapping. You want to tap. It's like peddling, guys.
We figured to steal a line from back where Zero Punctuation from way back in the day when he's talking about like GTA. He's like, we figured this out 10 years ago. Push it all the way to run, push it a little bit to walk. That's all you have to do, and you make me tap the A button.
I went to the gym after playing some of this, and my thumb was hurting. And I went there, and I was sitting there doing some cable rows, and I was like, man, why is my thumb hurting? It's just on that right side. And I'm like, what is causing my thumb to hurt?
Nothing.
Like, it's fucking bully.
Nothing.
I got freaking repetitive motion syndrome, not from the gym, from fucking bully.
Nothing causes carpal tunnel quite like a Rockstar game. In
Yeah,
Noir, though, like you control Cole Phelps like a car because you just hold the right trigger to run or something.
Yeah,
which is also like
that's a weird
choice.
I forgot that was Rockstar.
Well, they published. They didn't.
Yeah, it wasn't
that's the whole thing. Well,
one day we might.
LA Noire has an interesting history behind it and that whole studio thing. So
yeah,
moving on. I love how when you win the boxing tournament, they give you the beach house and they treat that as less value than a trophy.
Yeah, because it's just property. Like, who cares?
But you get there and it's like the coolest hangout. There's like arcade machines. Yeah, there's a bar, and you're like, you can make this into something.
Thank God, because there's a save place in the town.
Yeah,
which I hate. That's a PlayStation 2 ass thing to have to go somewhere to save. Boy, that's not gonna fuck Eric over anytime soon.
How long did you have to replay a section?
About an hour and a half because the game fucking froze.
No. Ugh.
Last night,
I just make it a habit to save every time I like.
I didn't have a chance to save, Michael, because last night I beat the. I played all the way up through after the date at the carnival.
Yeah.
I did the bike race. I did the get the trophy back. I did the talk to Pete, where you go do the boxing and then you got to beat down the rest of the preps. About 5 missions. And they were all close to each other.
Oh,
so that's why I was not saving, because it was like bam, 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 bam.
Jenny woke up, started in the morning, and was like, okay, I'm going to deal with these guys today.
Yeah,
Make this my day.
Yeah, I knocked it out in like one in-game day.
Gotcha.
So, chapter 3 starts. Watch the cutscene. Ends when the cutscene inside of the boys' room, doing the Christmas time decorations. I walk 2 steps towards my room to go save.
Oh no! Oh no!
I'm like, what the fuck happened? I'm just staring at it, and it's real loud in my headphones, so it blew my eardrums out.
The Xbox One doesn't crash subtly. You know when it does.
Oh, you know when it crashes. So I was like, oh no. And I just let it sit there for a few seconds, just desperately hoping it did something. And I lost, and I had to cancel the program, bring it back up. I'm like, well, maybe it auto-saved after the chapter.
No, it does not.
No, it does not.
Does not even in mission checkpoints.
Let's just
There's not even in mission checkpoints. And that took me back to me getting frustrated with GTA 4 because of that 4-leaf clover mission. That, like, 45-minute heist mission that includes a driving section all the way down there to get to the very end and get shot by the last guy, and I'm going to do all of that again.
That shit sucks, and Rockstar's still not good at it.
No,
I can tell you why.
It wasn't until the DLC for GTA 4 when they finally added checkpoints.
Here's the reason, though. I'm sure some asshole in a board meeting was like, we want people to experience the mission as if it's a story. And if you save, you won't be experiencing it like it's a little mini movie. Fuck that, because if a game freezes, I gotta play 45 fucking more minutes. I was so goddamn mad. I break down my notes by chapter. The only note in chapter 3 right now is game fucking froze. Yeah, that made me so mad. So getting that save point is worth doing the boxing stuff for. Also, I like that the boxing is sort of like a Punch Out.
Yeah, you have a dodge, you have a block, and a punch.
And they have a routine. Like each guy kind of punches in either he gives you like a 1, 2, 3, or he does like a low swing that you can dodge.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy the boxing's not bad. It gets a little tedious.
It's fun,
and I think they should make you do it as much as they do, but it's not bad. It's fine. One thing that I enjoy about this entire section is that once the preps turn on you, it literally just becomes you being like the sane person interacting with a bunch of insanity, because all these people are talking about how they're dating their cousins.
Oh man, there's so many incest jokes.
There's like 1,000,001 inbred and incest
web
jokes.
toes. They're like, well, we can't date her. She says my what's the girl's name? Because each clique has one girl.
Pinky.
Pinky. That's
Her
right.
name's Pinky.
How could I forget that? But she says, well, my aunt has 4 thumbs, but it's not legal to marry your brother anymore something.
Well, then you meet the kid outside the his house, and he's like, this is when Gary shows up, and you call one of the lies Gary called him was that you were calling him web toed, and he goes, that's only on 1 foot, and it's like, oh Jesus, Rockstar. Remember that jackhammer analog I used? This is a jackhammer, and it got old for me because it was like every single one of these jokes.
One is fine, but every interaction is this is a little much.
One is fine. One is a parody. This is just fucking we have one beat. Some guy wrote down in his scripting for how to write the preps. He just goes
inbred,
underline, underline, underline. And then he was supposed to fill out the other blocks, but he forgot. And that's all he had. I will say, though, you get one of my favorite missions in this is the date with Pinky.
Oh, the carnival?
When you go to the carnival. I have one of my very happy memories is taking my wife and me ending up in a carnival in the middle of fucking nowhere. And we were very early on in our dating career, and so any game that involves being young and going on a date to a carnival is sentimental for me.
Mm-hmm.
I like the games. I like that all the people who run the games are assholes. It's just enough that it was fun, and I actually really enjoyed that mission. I was feeling a little bit bummed about the game at that point, primarily because every joke was just and they married their cousins, and it's okay, I get it, man. I was just this is just repetitive, but then that mission was very cool. I enjoyed it, and other than that, I feel like there's some more variety in here. You get the race, which is fine, but damn, that's what gave me carpal tunnel.
Tapinade or
hey. And like I said, you were right. Gary's missing in this entire chapter, except that one appearance, which I think is pretty cool. There's a subplot about the grammar. Is it the English teacher? There's a drunk.
Yeah.
And he's getting turned in by the math teacher. I think it's interesting that the preps want to defend the English teacher, and they say a line, and I quote, "A man has the right to have a drink every once in a while." And I'm like, you're 14. I'm everyone here is 14. What do you know about having a drink? They have a bar, though. The preps have a bar at their boxing gym.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah, which it blew my mind. I was like, yeah, rich people live completely different lives than the rest of us. We having to steal that stuff from the 7-Eleven. Here, these guys got a freaking bar. This is a really a fun chapter. It's a lot better. It makes a good kind of impression more than one to me. But yeah, man, there's not a lot to talk about in this for me until you get towards the end. But kind of tell me some of the highlights that you enjoyed in chapter 2.
As you said, I did enjoy the carnival mission. Walking around doing those mini games was fun. I do like the boxing mini game a lot.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I took him out in round 2 every single time, and I just like the idea of Jimmy just knocking out everybody and like asserting his dominance from early on.
They need more lines because everyone just repeats the same 4
Get him.
lines. Get him. Do you like my shoes? Can't you all get along? Jimmy's tough.
That's okay. Jimmy's tough.
I was like, for the love of God, if this kid says Jimmy's tough one more time, Jimmy's gonna jump out and beat the shit out of that kid.
Some really good Pete lines in this chapter. I'm too cool to be a dork, but I'm too dorky to be anything else.
I felt for Pete.
That's
there.
a mood.
No, but I felt for Pete there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of is in that weird middle ground when he's not a dork. He's just not cool enough to be like one of the cool kids. He's not big, so he can't be a jock or a prep. He's just like he is in that middle ground.
That's why he fits in with Jimmy, even though they're completely different. They don't really belong to any other group, which is why they kind of work as a pairing.
I think a lot of us as kids fell into those weird middle grounds where you're just like, and you know what? I think those are the people that kind of grow to be the most interesting because they experienced a lot of variety of things in that process of growing
Either
up.
you isolate yourself or you get acquainted with everybody.
Yeah, you either get acquainted with everybody or you have so many experiences with all of them that you feel like you grow differently.
Yeah.
There's something I enjoyed about this game is it never gets so far away from into the absurdity that it stops being about growing up. Like I just like the fact like the mission when you throw the eggs into the house. And like the way you complete that mission is just get off their yard. Like it's not like beat everybody up or anything. The escape is not like jump on a train. The escape is literally cross that line where you're no longer in their yard and now you've done it. Mission passed. The scale thing is something you talk about a lot, and it is something I enjoy. I enjoy this game. It just every once in a while when I'm like 100% enjoying it, we run into like a character like the market kid guy, where like there's like stuff where you have to do the mission to get the kids out of the line, so Pinky can go see the movie.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why? Why am I have to go back to the market and just buy candy, come back over here and give candy to this kid? I have to go over here and take the bike 2 feet that way and then get back off the bike and come back. And it was just like, it felt like chores at that point. And that's something that I see a lot in Rockstar games that I've played. Between the missions that are memorable, there's a lot of chores. And I'm a big believer in give me less but more, more. I want a good like one meal. I want a good meal instead of giving me like 4-course meal that only one of them's got like substantialness. Like give me something. I'd rather have an hour of gameplay that's just really tight than an hour and 45 minutes that's like jazz for 50 minutes. But that's just me. I mean,
I get you. Yeah.
That's just my kind of personal taste.
I was gonna say if you do want chores though, you can do lawn mowing as well.
I ain't
besides
doing any of those chores. I did so many damn chores in No More Heroes. I ain't doing any of these chores. I got real chores in life. I'll mow the yard once a week, man. I ain't gonna do it in this damn video game.
But yeah.
I mean, when you get to like the final confrontation with the bullies,
Derby just is the most.
He's the most prep of the
second
preps.
most punchable face in the game next to Gary.
And the best name for a guy you want to punch in the face.
Has some great lines. Like he calls Biff a filthy Democrat. Which
He
has me
calls him a
rolling.
Democrat. I thought that was hilarious.
What are we going to do? And then almost yell, beat him back to the ghetto. It was like, oh
Yeah.
no,
that was a line.
Again, but just like
My favorite
going
line,
right off of that, and the fact that they all shouted it was like, this is not the first time they said this.
My favorite line is also when you go and you find him at the bar. He's like, you freaking coward, you keep letting everyone fight your battles for you. He goes, I'm leavening my assets. My assets are my friends. I have them. You don't. I'm just using that to my advantage. And it's such a... At first, it's like, no, you asshole. And now it's like, he's kind of got a point. Like, why wouldn't he use that to his advantage? And I was like, well, damn, Darby, yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, but you're still a jerk. I really like that line where I was like, I'm just using my assets. I have assets, you don't. What should I do?
I wish there was more of him in this chapter as like a presence, because he's not until the end. You see, at first you're like, oh, I guess Biff is the head.
I didn't even know Darby was like the leader.
They reference him like he's Pinky's cousin.
Yeah, who was supposed to meet her there
for a date.
Go on the date that you like, nah, why don't you go on me? And the whole time she keeps acting like this is the most like scandalous thing she could be doing was going on the date with like a common person. And she uses a lot of like the worst lines are like the ones where she's like, oh, you guys are just so fascinating. Like Jimmy's.
If only you were born into my social circle.
And it's like, oh, Jesus Christ almighty.
But it speaks to
you're not supposed to like Pinky. She's an asshole.
Like everyone in this game that's not, well, everyone in this game. Jimmy a lot less than others, but...
Jimmy is not even that... Like, on the asshole scale, he's very low.
Yes.
It's maybe him and Pete are the only, like, non-asshole people. Because even the nerds are assholes. Like, the nerds are, like, subtle assholes.
Gary even says, you gotta watch out for them.
Yeah, because they're the sneaky ones. Like, they're not, like... That's one thing I thought was really funny is, like, the nerds are not, like, pure-hearted. They're just assholes in more sneaky ways because they can't punch people, you know? Like,
you get your coolest weapons from them.
Yeah, you get, like... Yeah, you get the paintball gun. You get the stink bombs. You get the marbles, I think, from them.
No, I think you get the marbles in the Halloween mission.
Yeah, you get the marbles from the Halloween.
You do get one later. You do get one later on whenever you unlock the nerd hideout. That is very, very good.
Okay, we'll talk about that when
we'll get there.
But
yeah,
really, I like the final showdown. I like the beatdown of Darby, and I really like how Jimmy's attitude is. Where, like, when he wins in the boxing match, he's like, what? Say something. I'm freaking, like, I came here, I challenged, this is your thing.
Who's
the
best?
Beat you. Who's the man? And then when he beats down everybody again after Darby comes out, he's like, it's such a great...
Are you going to be my friend? Are you going to be my friend?
I just love, like, the fact, like, once again, he's just like, I'm the man, say it. Say it. And Darby having to be like, you're the man, I'm sorry. But it's such an early teenage boy thing to do. Like, the fact that the worst thing you could ever make someone do is say that you're the man. Like, you know, because everyone's, at that age, everyone is self-conscious and paranoid about not being the cool guy. And, like, the fact that the worst thing he can make Darby do right now is say that, no, man, you're the man.
It's cathartic in a way.
Oh, it's very cathartic. Into chapter 2. And we see that we're opening up a new section of town, and we get the talk through of the greasers. So we get basically told the greasers are the next chapter.
Very interesting that the greasers are a clique in this game, though.
Very, very, yeah.
If it was made 5 years later, I think they would have been replaced with emo kids or something.
Yeah, but it doesn't fit my theory that this is an 80s set.
Gotcha.
Thing. He does call them throwbacks. So it's not like a modern thing because he keeps making fun of them like you freaking throwbacks. But yeah, it's if it would have been set in 2006, these would have been the emo kids.
I played this around the time when we read The Outsiders for school. So I was like, Greasers and Socias. I'm like, I understand this dynamic.
Well, also, have you seen the movie Grease?
Yeah.
Yeah, if she's in Greece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Or
in
you
Greece.
see Indiana Jones in the Crystal Skull. Shia LaBeouf's character. He's a greaser. Inside Michael, I just killed him.
I don't have an attachment to the Indiana Jones series like most
fucking
people.
love the Indiana
Like most
Jones
people
series.
do, but that movie made some choices.
I went and
It's
saw...
not as bad as everyone else says it is.
Oh, yes,
I don't
it
think.
is.
I don't think so. But man, it's like it's not great.
I had to I like Indiana Jones a lot. Michael, did you know that I was in the Indiana Jones stage show?
You mentioned that on this podcast.
I did. It's one of my proudest achievements with being on the Indiana Jones stage show. My favorite thing was also I got to be on the Indiana Jones stage show, and I completely bought into that one of the people was just another guest, and I had talked to him thinking he was just another guest, and then he does a scene in which you have to act like you get shot, and he does a full somersault and lands on his feet and stuff, and the crowd goes, he's a part of the cast, and I was just as shocked as they were. But I love Indiana Jones, and I remember seeing that movie in theaters and just sitting there and looking at everyone else who was with me who didn't like Indiana Jones as much as I did, who were like, oh, it's okay, and just wanting to murder all of them because I was like, don't you know what they just did?
Going off topic here, but I remember that with Games with Gold, there was an Indiana Jones Xbox game that was one of those. And I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, I forgot this game existed, or that I own it technically. So
I really hope that Machine Games Indiana Jones games is really good. I like Indiana Jones. I can sit down and watch Temple of Doom now.
I'm excited for that, and I'm more excited. I was a James Bond kid growing up versus an Indiana Jones.
See, I was
kid.
the Indiana Jones kid.
I had an argument to school about who was cooler, Indiana Jones or James Bond.
I was never
I was like, you got a whip. I got to watch with gadgets.
I was never an Indiana Jones. I was never a James Bond guy until I was older. I went back and watched all those movies when I was older. Indiana Jones I had watched when I was young, and it was freaking I'm an Indiana Jones fanboy. But all that doesn't mean anything because we're talking about Bully. But all this is said and done. I have mixed emotions about this game. I'm excited to continue to play it. I really hope that we get more into some actual let's pull back the cynicism by 2 degrees. And I know it's Rockstar, I know, but the cynicism in this game is at a 10, and my tolerance for cynicism is just not as much as it used to be. And so
because again we aged out of the bracket.
Yeah.
This.
I mean, I'm not saying it's the fault of the game. I'm saying that myself at 29 years old, talking about and playing this game, it feels different than it did, if I played it at 40.
There was one mission we didn't talk about that goes a little too hard into it.
Which one's that?
The panty raid mission.
Oh yeah. That's
Did you block that from your mind?
I don't. Yeah, that's yeah.
It's an optional one, so you don't have to do it. But there's it's so.
Well,
that was one I failed, so I'm just I don't know. I could just leave it here.
A lot of the interactions with the teaching staff and stuff is just kind of the perfects are just the guys who were who couldn't become cops. That
is true.
Yeah,
one of the prefects tackles you, and he goes, "I always get my man." I'm just
yeah, it's just remember that guy in Life is Strange that we hated.
David.
David?
Everyone's David.
Yeah, everyone in this school is David. And remember how I almost believed that David in Life is Strange had a redeeming factor, and then the next chapter shut him down. I was like, he's just a fucking asshole.
Then it makes him we're spoiling Life is. I won't spoil Life is Strange here. Never mind.
Let's not do that because you should go back and
listen to our Life is Strange discussion,
which is very good shows. You listen to 3 grown men sit around and get emotional about shit. Next time on the regular State of the Save show, Bully Part 2, Chapters 3 and Chapters 4. I'm looking forward to playing through this. I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes.
Yeah.
I hope we have a file corrupted next week. If we won't, we will have one coming up soon. I do have some fun anniversary stuff coming up. Also, Michael, we know what's coming up this month, too, in June. What's another big event coming up in June?
There's a whole bunch of video game news on the horizon.
Yes, because why?
Because E3 and
Exactly. I was trying to ease you into
the
that.
Summer Game Fest.
All this
we
stuff
already
is
we
coming.
already had the Sonic Direct.
Who gives? Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
hey, Colors is a fine game.
Yes. Okay.
I didn't play a whole lot of it, but the sections I played were fine, and they're getting a remaster. I'll check that out.
I am fascinated. We'll do Foul Corrupted on E3 because we're a video game website, or not website, video game podcast, and we would be amiss if we didn't. But I am fascinated to see what this E3 is going to be like, because this is we went through the COVID quarantine stuff. I want to know what kind of work teams have been able to get done.
Last year was so rough.
Last year, though, I gave them a pass. I gave the E3 show a pass because it's like, dude, it had only been like 4 months.
Well, they didn't even have one. They like completely canceled that flat. It was the Summer Game Fest that went all summer.
Yeah,
and
that was what
every single announcement was like hyped up to the point from like people going, "We're getting a game announcement, and it's Bridge Constructor Walking Dead."
Yeah, like,
cool.
It was over promising. It's the
Tony Hawk got announced there. That was the first thing, and I was like, "All right, let's go."
Yeah, that was pretty cool. But this one, I'm fascinated to hear what actually is coming out, because there's continuing to be shortages on new consoles. It's still hard as hell to get your hands on a new, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series.
I'm now starting to know people who have PS5s. It's very.
I know 2 people who have PlayStation 5s, and you're one of them. So, I don't a lot of people still don't have them.
There's 2 people at my workplace who were able to get them. One got it this past week, and was very excited about it.
Well, it's still going, and from everything that I've read, it'll be like 2022 before it's actually easy to get your hands on one of those. But I wonder how that affects announcements.
But here's the thing: we're out of the holiday season, so there's not as many of the what's the word? The opportunists who are going after them. You're still gonna have to fight scalpers. That's an inevitability. And every single time they drop them, and people like me getting them, then there's less hands in the pile each time.
My understanding is it's entirely a production problem.
It is.
It's a raw material problem right now, and that's not going to go away anytime soon.
Chip shortages,
plastic shortages,
just all that stuff.
Yeah, there's that's the boring side of it, but that's the way it is. But I wonder how that affects announcements, because do you really want to put your big announcement for late 2021 release on a system that people might not have their hands on?
Or do you do a lot of cross development, like they did showcase for the new Horizon game, and that's going to be on a PS4 too. I'm like, what does that game look like?
I feel like there's going to be remember the PS2 to PS3 jump? There was a pretty long section there where there was maybe about 6-7 months of everything was on both. I feel like we're going to see that even longer this generation because of the shortages and things like that.
And because with a lot of indie games that come out, you can have those exist on wherever you can put them.
You don't need to.
We're going to see indie games on PS4 for probably, my guess is this whole generation, because if it can run on there, why not put it on there? It's an integrated ecosystem. The PS5 can play PS4 games, so you're not losing any market by putting it on the old platform, when you can still find it on the same integrated store.
Yeah, I mean, what do you lose? I mean, why not? And same thing for Xbox. Just put it on Game Pass, and
just put it on Game Pass.
Yeah. And if you can run it on the Xbox One, let it be on that Game Pass available on that Xbox One. Please do a better job of labeling that stuff on the store, though, because they put the same logo for stuff that can be enhanced by Xbox Series X and stuff that is exclusive to Xbox Series X.
If it can't run on your Xbox, I think it's grayed out and has one of those cancel. Not necessarily.
I tried to download the Enlisted game. It was free to play.
Oh yeah,
first-person shooter, squad-based World War II.
Because that's only on next-gen platforms.
And it lets everything shows up on the store for the Xbox Series the One, and when you hit the download, it tells you.
Oh.
And like, is it that big of a deal?
Because Medium
No.
blocks it out. Like when you hover over Medium, at least on the Game Pass front, it says you can't.
Yeah, it's
Wait,
not
this-
on the Game Pass, but if you go to the store,
Okay.
it's there. But I think it does a better job on that one than it does on. It's a moot point. It's not that big of a deal, but it just yeah, especially as it gets more and more of these things.
The PS5 is terrible
try to be a little
about
bit better
labeling it. In Scarlet Nexus, if you go to a drop-down menu on Scarlet Nexus, it doesn't say PS4 demo, PS5 demo. It says demo and demo.
Oh, great job!
So you're like, you have to click on it and then see the PS5 one doesn't tell you it's PS5. It just says Scarlet Nexus. But if you select the PS4 one, it says Scarlet Nexus PS4.
That's a mistake.
I'm like Sony, label your stuff better.
That shouldn't be like that.
No, it shouldn't. But here we are.
But yeah, bunch of cool stuff coming out this summer. A lot of fun content coming from State of the Save. Already talking about the next game. I think I know which one it's going to be now, and I'm excited. Yeah, thank you guys for listening. We are proud to be your 176th most popular video game podcast in the country of Ukraine.
Other countries, step it up.
Other countries, step it up. Like, I mean, come on, guys. I can't be like, we're only like what, 50 behind Giant Bomb.
Well, we were, and then Giant Bomb went up.
Damn it!
They
no content.
They were like 120 in Ukraine. I was them up. I was like, "We're coming for you, Gersman."
I was gonna come, dude. If I beat Jeff Garsman in podcast in Ukraine, I would make a T-shirt. If you want a T-shirt, please email us at stateofthesave@gmail.com and tell us, hey, we want State of the Save T-shirts that say 176 most popular video game podcasts in the country of Ukraine.
With a with a star, an asterisk. That's the word that says as of.
Yeah. Subject on the back, or just say subject to change. If you are one of our Ukrainian listeners, I would love to read an email from you, just telling why you listen, and just cool.
Or if you're not from the Ukraine, also feel free to send an email to stateofthesave@gmail.com. We will read it on the show.
Yes, we will. Thank you, guys. We'll see you guys on the flip side. Thank you for one whole year of State of the Save. We got a whole another year coming. It's going to be real fun. And we appreciate it. Y'all stay safe out there.